Hey guys, here to get into Nosferatu, which currently lands as my third favorite Robert Eggers film, which is, they've all been perfect to me so far in many ways. And this is just amazing because I've only seen it one time, so I really need to see this again to further dissect a lot of it. But ultimately, it just lands as a really masterfully strong, just Dracula depiction in a lot of ways. I mean, the whole castle atmosphere is just extraordinarily out of this world. It just seems like Eggers is just exactly the man to make a story like this. And William Dafoe is just, again, the collaboration with Robert Eggers is just one of the best of all time. It's just very perfectly eccentric and entertaining. And it feels like it actually kind of enhances my appreciation for the Werner Herzog's version a little more. I used to be a little bit like not one of my favorites, but now I actually see it a little more thanks to the way this one kind of opens me to it. And I really love this whole story. Just feels uniquely entertaining the way that Eggers makes all this. It feels very cinematic, and it feels like it's just very lived in. The world building is just very masterful. It deals a lot with like obsession and living right in the moment of obsession in a very magical kind of way. I think that's what Eggers has a gift of. Like he can really convey that kind of obsession in a very haunting way. Like The Witch and The Lighthouse both are very timelessly disturbing, and so is in this. And The Northman as well in its own way. I need to rewatch that one most particularly, but. I don't know. I think I just realized Eggers is one of the most sensual, like close-up kind of directors on a horror perspective I've ever seen, which is just really original, and it's really groundbreakingly ahead of its time in a lot of ways. I think his 2010's perspectives were both gigantically ahead of it. Even I recognized Lighthouse right away, but The Witch I needed time. It's like this stuff is light years ahead of its time, and this one is just like the impact of Eggers just adds up perfectly, resonates in many ways. There's almost I think like open like sloppiness to this particular project that I love about it. Like I think Eggers is a little more open to just grotesque, sort of just carrying on with just some. I think The Lighthouse kind of had a lot of these elements too, but it's this kind of just further roots into a lot of grotesque sort of moments and scenes. And it just cinematography. It's just perfectly in the sort of, I guess, just Doom-like perspective on Dracula's story, and it's just particularly intense, particularly well made. Honestly, beautiful. It feels extremely beautiful. Very personal in its own kind of way. It's a way of telling the story. It just really brews to life. It's very horrifying, and I'm just really stoked to watch all this. Because honestly, just talking about it just gets me excited. It's got a really exciting sort of atmosphere, beating heart about its atmosphere, which is what Eggers is just a genius at doing in general. The film just has a real voice about it, and it's just a perfectly executed story. And perfect screenwriting, perfectly made. And it just. Like you think you just like all right, you think you know where it's going to be. It always has its unpredictable twists and turns in the way it's depicted. I feel like I haven't really been in the story in a while outside like the Herzog version and Coppola's version. I'm not crazy about Coppola's version either, honestly. Next to how this is, it has its moments, but I think this is just wow. This easily is my favorite out of all of them. It kind of just even feels a little bit like. In a much darker way, like a lot of Tim Burton even influence even Living Hell. That's certainly the darker span of a lot of this. Very chilling ultimately. I really feel a lot of dread in this. It really feels like a unsettling in its own kind of way too, from a third eye perspective as well. It's like, again, I even sense a lot of Stanley Kubrick influence of The Shining, particularly living in all this. A lot of Shining influence lives here. A lot of breathtaking CGI even, but really masterfully executed in Eggers. And it feels very like, again, it's like a blend of like suspense, terror, thriller, and just like psychological horror, all the above kind of unfolding at once in a way that really just blends like reality with dreams. And I really love how psychological and paranormal it all kind of flows out. Like it's a great soundtrack. It really feels like it's just overwhelming and very detail oriented in its masterful sort of cinematography. You feel like you're just looking at all this, and yeah, it just always feels unsettling. It always feels like it's really over the top insane. And that's just a lot of why I love Eggers so much here. He's one of the best I've ever seen at just conveying intensity, unsettling atmosphere, perfect acting. He really ties the screenplay together really well. It feels like it just kind of feels like a sensuality kind of breeze here. So like you see a dark opinion, you see all this, and it just really feels it feels like a masterpiece all the way through. It just simply flows. Very disturbing. It's very very spooky, and it just kind of lives on for life in the way it kind of all unfolds. Very classic. Even a lot of Alfred Hitchcock influence in its own way. It's like Alfred Hitchcock and Stanley Kubrick, but yeah, it's a little romantic, a little very gothic, very folk like oriented. A lot of it just conveys particularly like trauma from anxiety in a lot of ways too. It's close up on all elements of that. It's a slow burner. That's what I love about Eggers. He always goes for the slow burner route. All of his projects have been very intense slow burner. And I just feel like over and over again, this is easily my favorite version of the story I've seen. So this is strongly recommended. I'm really excited to rewatch this to just take it in some more.